Hi, I'm Dom Hind, and fuck, I'm nearly 50. Actually, I'm 47 and a few months, but who's counting? Okay, I am. And let's be honest, if you're here listening, you probably are too, because midlife sneaks up on you. One day you're wearing low-rise jeans at Cargo Bar with a Smirnoff Black in your hand, and the next you're Googling, is it perimenopause or am I just ragey? While whispering affirmations into your keep cup. And one of the wildest parts of midlife, friendship. You start life surrounded by people who just happen to be there. Schoolmates, uni housemates, work colleagues, exhausted fellow parents who bond with you at a soft play centre or during nap times. Some of these friendships fizzle, some of them stick, and some become your forever people. They're the ones who've seen all versions of you, the fun you, the broken you, the trying to hold it all together you, and they still want in. Today, I've got one of my forever people on the couch. She's been through it all with me. Newborn haze, identity crisis, career pivots, shitty dinners, magic moments, heartbreak, healing, and some serious retail therapy. She's the kind of friend who'll say the hard stuff with love, but call out the bullshit and make sure that she turns up on your doorstep when you need it. So let's get into it because fuck, I'm nearly 50. And isn't it amazing? But disclaimer is I have got a cold and a really raspy voice. So this episode is not what I normally sound like. Thank you for listening. Maddie Marsh and I met in the most classic mid-30s way at Mother's Group. Bleary-eyed, sleep-deprived, and wondering how the actual fuck we got here. Leighton and Spencer were just 8 weeks old. She noticed my pink shoes and I noticed her bright, unfiltered energy. Then came the question that sealed it. Wait, do you not own a handbag? Nope, just plastic bags and recycling shopping totes. So somehow from there, that's all it took. We clicked. And that was that. Back then, I lived in Mossman, so it was all spontaneous cuppers, couch chats while the babies maybe napped or ate yogurt and stood on chairs, and just chaotic plate days. Now I'm over the other side of the bridge, all the way in Watson's Bay, and our friendship has evolved into a full-blown day festivals when we get all the crew together. Think water parks, yum cha, where the kids are obsessed about rainbow jelly, legs, trees, skitties, and followed by bowling, arcade games, and milkshakes. Chaos, laughter, always loud, always fun. Leighton, Spencer, Beau, and of course Hallie are thick as thieves. They've even started a business called Big Burp Enterprises, named after an IKEA shark who is its mascot. And there's merch, newsletter, and it's actually a thing. But beyond the kids and the crazy, Maddie has been my lighthouse through the storm. New motherhood, identity wobblies, career pivots, the tears, the joy, all of it. She's loud, she's dramatic, she's an only child who doesn't like to share snacks, and she is one of the best humans I know. So Maddie, welcome to Fuck I'm Nearly 50. I know how you introduce yourself at kids' parties, but today I want the full LinkedIn treatment. Go on, give us your meta overview.
I feel like we shouldn't ignore the fact that you used to make everyone wear name tags at kids' parties forever. And I feel like your children got cakes at the parties because of me. So I feel like that is way better than my full LinkedIn intro. It has been such a wild ride. I mean, honestly, the fact that you throw in skitties in the intro is mortifying. I feel like that's definitely got to cut out. But, you know, I think one of the things that meant that we clicked from the get-go is, yes, we had little kids and they were the same age and we were sleep deprived and it was mental. But I remember this moment where we sat in the Mother's Group cafe after that weird moment in the community hall and we both realized we worked in advertising, and it was like this shortcut to, okay, you're probably also crazy, but I'm going to love you.
Yeah, true, which is, very true. Right? But yeah, I agree. And that was probably, it did short circuit it, and it did mean that a lot of the conversations, we had something to base it on too.
Yeah. And a little bit more substance than just how much sleep did you not get last night?
Yes, or is your child actually eating or not eating?
Or in my child's case, not rolling ever.
Or Leighton just like crawling too quickly or doing everything too quickly. Anyway, tell me about you though. You as a person.
I mean, I think the only child piece is really important because I know we're going to talk about friendships. And I think, we've talked about this a lot. I think particularly when you don't have a big family from a sibling point of view, or maybe you have siblings and they meet certain needs, but not all your needs. I think you end up building this like chosen family around you. And I think that's certainly really core to who I am, is how do you build a community around you for all different parts of your life, but the people that you truly consider your family. And to your point is like, when the times are awesome and when the shit hits the fan, who are those people that you're going to call? And there's not many of those people that really, when the going gets super tough, who are you going to pick up and call, and who's going to rock up on your doorstep and really help you through some pretty tricky times?
Yep. And I think that's, definitely where we have been there for each other. And I do think that, the chosen family is such a big thing, particularly not even for an only child, but even when you've moved away from your family as well. You do need to build that network of people. And it's great because that's what we're talking about today is friendships. So do you remember the moment that we actually did meet?
I fully remember. I don't know if the shoes were pink. I feel like maybe they were turquoise. I don't think you were as bright colored then as you were now, but there was definitely a bright colored shoe involved. And as we've laughed about a lot, most people were in leggings, and leggings are not pants. So, there was definitely a shared love of that. I think you and I were on the other side of the circle to each other. And I remember thinking that you were far more put together than most people in that room, and probably sort of scarily so, right? I remember that Spencer would basically sleep on me the entire meeting in that weird community hall. And I remember that you just seemed really composed and on top of it. And I think I probably thought maybe I could feel more on top of it if I was friends with you. But little did I know that you were just like this extraordinary super person who just was on top of everything all the time and is also just a little bit scary.
Oh, okay, on. That's not fair. I'm on top of my sleep.
Laughably scary. Laughably scary.
Okay, so that was the first impression then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, I think, no, not lovably scary, but just that you were composed, you were in control, you seemed to know what was going on, but at the same time, and like that was like the across the room moment.
Yeah, okay,
And
great.
then I think when we connected, just overflowing with energy and positivity and just, in that classic like radiator, like someone that I just want to be with.
Okay, good. I'm happy with that. Why do you think newborn friendships are so intense?
I mean, I think the whole thing is so intense.
Far out, isn't it?
Right. And I think especially for you and I, it was the first child for us both. We'd both come from really hectic jobs. You were like leading your own business. Like there was so much. And then all of a sudden your world comes to like this screaming halt and you actually have no control over anything. And I think for both you and I, we both have high control needs, right? So suddenly you're thrown into this chaos. And I think it's like you need the support, but you also need the like friendship and the laughter to get you through because it is so chaotic.
Oh, and it's hard.
It's hard.
No
and
one talks about it.
Everyone goes, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And my world felt so complete. And I'm like, really? I'm just exhausted. And I, like things that I think everyone makes out that should be really easy, like feeding, for me, like really hard.
Yeah.
So I think it's that, it's so confronting because I think you want to be a high achiever and you want to nail parenting and you can't, right? And then you think you've nailed it and something else comes out and you're like, I've definitely not nailed this.
What is the secret, and we have had many discussions about this, to keeping a friendship going when life gets in the way?
I mean, I think it is, we've talked about this a lot and I think there's depth, but then there's also practicalities.
Yeah.
So I think the depth is, and I think, you and I bonded because pretty randomly, right? Like our kids were born within 3 days of each other and it was just like coinky dink. And let's be honest, we've stayed awesome mates.
Yeah.
But if you find one awesome person through a mother's group, I'd say that's a win, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that in itself is not enough, right? And I think what has helped endure our friendship, and I think what is really important to friendships enduring, is you've got to have enough depth, which means like you're willing to be vulnerable and you're willing to share and you're willing to, yes, rejoice in the highs, but also absolutely rock in the corner in the lows.
Yeah.
But I also think it does take work.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like all relationships, right? Like, jokes aside about how I introduce myself at work or at a kid's party, it's always about people and your connection. And it's one of those things that I think you do have to water.
Yeah.
You do have to nurture. And I think, you and I have talked a lot. I think people can come and go.
Yeah.
And I think you can go through periods where you're more really like almost daily tightly synced, and then you can go through periods where that elasticity is longer.
And
but
it's
at
just
the
an
same
occasional
time,
text message.
if you don't know what's going on in someone's life in the core moments that matter, then I'd probably question how deep or true your friendship really is. But I do think it takes more work than probably people let on.
Yeah.
And it does require, I think, like some common values and some common beliefs.
Yeah, I agree. And also it is like with friendship, and it is really interesting where I do think there are different types of friendships as well.
I think there are different types of friendships, and I think there are different friendships for different times.
Yes.
Now, in saying that, we have a really enduring friendship.
Yeah.
And I think even in our friendship, we've had moments where we've been like hyper daily tight and then like stretch it a bit further, especially when you moved all the way to Watson's Bay, But at the same time, it's like some people, I think, value friendships more than others.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think some people probably have more capacity to be able to care and think for others. And that's okay. And I think that's probably been one of my harder journeys when it comes to friendships. I think particularly because there's a small cohort of my friends who are very much that chosen family.
Yeah.
But it's like when you know you would do almost anything for that person, you have to accept that that's not always reciprocated.
Yes.
And you can't always take that like so to the core of you or your friendship. You probably sometimes just need it to fly through to the keeper and then see what happens on the flip side.
Which, because you do not know what is happening in their life at that point in time.
Exactly.
And, you just being there, and even that occasional text message, even if you don't get a reply, will be something that it'll come out in the wash.
And like care and thoughtfulness. And I think, particularly when people are going through the hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think to your question around like, what is it that connects you? I think when you have really little kids, it's because you're going through so much hard stuff and you actually just need a sounding board to be like, are you two going through this? And maybe what did you do that made it easier, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's something in that like core moment of the vulnerability that I think does connect you. And not to say that that's the only way in which you can have that. Like, I've got a couple of really great mates who I've known for 30 years from high school or even before that in dance. And I think it's like you do go through the ebbs and flows, but if you still have a bloody great time together and you care deeply about each other, it's awesome. But equally, sometimes it's time to probably shed the skin and let some people go. And that's not a negative thing. It's probably just accepting that maybe that particular chapter of friendship is closed.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, particularly as you get older. You go,
and you have less time as you get older.
Absolutely. You are stretched so thin. It's hard to connect with the people that are your chosen family.
And the people that really matter.
Yeah. And it is if the effort's not put in or it's not reciprocated or, it's time, or even if it's hard. If it's hard and you feel drained at the end of an interaction, that's your, decider that you need to let it go.
And I think if you're drained every time,
yes.
right? So I think like, whether or not it's like the zappers and sappers or the radiators and drains, right? You can have moments, and we've had so many, right? Where I've probably drained you and you've very occasionally drained me, right? And that's just totally part of it.
Absolutely.
But if time and time and time again, you feel like it is like all give and there's nothing that comes back. And I've definitely had instances where I've felt that.
Yep.
And I think you've got to call it.
Yeah. And do you think you call it to them, or is it that you just do the ghosting and let it drift away?
I mean, I feel like you could probably do both.
Yeah.
And I've probably got stories where maybe I've done both. I definitely take things really personally. Like
Really?
the
I
super
wouldn't
sensitive
know.
Susan in me, right? We know that this is, and I feel like maybe as I edge closer, not as close to you as 50, but
Yep.
closer to 50, you probably, the maturity comes through
Yep.
in that. And you probably, I've started to learn to be a bit less sensitive all the time. But at the same time, it's like, if it's not bringing you joy,
Yeah, you've got to get rid of it.
you've got to
Yeah.
shake it off,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe not shake it off, maybe just put it on the back burner for a bit.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So I, even doing the friendship cull or cleanup, but even
loves a
sometimes I love a cull. I love going through stuff and just getting rid of it. Like, get it out of my life now. You should see the stuff that I need to get out. Anyway, but I can remember there have only been one or two times, probably even just one, where I have properly ghosted someone. Other
And
times,
why?
because you know what, I should have told her that I was sick of her shit
Yeah.
and sick of her negativity. And
Well, especially when you are the embodiment of positivity, right?
the jealousy and comparison that this person had to everyone else, it just wasn't healthy.
Yep.
And out of that, the comparison just created so much gossip. And I was like, I'm not interested. Like, go live your life, but just live your life. Stop comparing. And I think it was just easier just to cut.
And do you feel better since?
Oh, so
Lighter.
much better, because I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think sometimes you do just have to cut. I've probably got one example where I cut and I definitely don't look back with any
Yeah.
regrets. And then probably some that I'd say are more like maybe on the back burn.
Yeah.
And I think there's friendships where you've been on the back burn and then you come back.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
it. Yeah.
equally, like with friends who live
Away.
further than Watson's Bay, right? It's like, I think you can go through periods where you're not as tight or you're not as connected in the minutia of the day or the
Yeah.
week or the month, but you can equally see someone from the other side of the world and it's like you saw them yesterday. And I do think that that's incredibly special, but you still it has to be rewarding.
Yeah.
And it has to be fun. I think that's one of the things that has kept our friendship
Yeah.
so like constantly hilarious is that sometimes to our own annoyance with our kids, like we over-index on fun, right? And I think that that's really important, right?
Yeah.
So much of life is hard. So much of life is like serious and a struggle at times that if you can't have someone where you're just going to have a really fucking fun time with, then like why put your energy there?
That's it. That's it. And you know what? You do, when you get to this age, you do realize that life's so short and you just need to be having that fun and just be enjoying it and getting the joy out of every moment.
And I think the competition thing is interesting. I'd say at my worst, I can get upset if I'm left out. Back to my super sensitive Susan, right? Because I've got massive FOMO because I love having fun. But also I think you've got to accept that everyone's got their own thing going on in life, right? And like, I haven't read it, but there's that book at the moment that people are all talking about the let them. And my husband says it to me all the time and he goes, just let them.
Yeah.
And there is something really like liberating in that.
100%.
Because you can't do everything all the time. And as we know, I've tried and then I end up getting burnt out, right? Or sick, which is my classic go-to. But, I think you've got to learn to say no.
Yeah.
And you've got to accept that everyone else has got their own life.
Yeah.
And you actually are happy for that.
Yeah.
And you just want to make sure that you're putting your buckets of joy and time and energy in the people that matter most and in the people that you have really great memories with.
Yeah, I know. And I think that, I love Mel Robbins' Let Them theory book.
See, she's actually read it.
Yeah, I've listened.
She got AI to summarize it for her.
100%. Give me the 10 things. No, but it's great because it does put the power back into your mindset about not feeling left out and going, if they had caught each other, what happens if they'd seen each other down the road, at the park, wherever, and they'd organised to do something? You can't, like, it's up to them to have their relationship as well.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be a group. There can just be a few people who do go out together as well. And I do think the let them theory just helps you let it go.
And not take it personally.
Not take it personally, because it's not personal.
It's not. It's not. And I think it's having the confidence that
That's it.
your friendships are strong, they're enduring. Yes, they're going to ebb and flow through periods of time, but I do think you can only have a really tight core. And you and I have spoken about this a lot. And I think there's a difference between friends who maybe come and go in chapters or friends who come and go around circumstances. So it might start as a newborn mother's group, but it becomes an enduring, or it might start as a school mum's friendship and it becomes a forever friend. But at the same time, there are people that just come and go. And there are people who maybe they're like one of your kids' best mates' parents and you really like them and you don't know yet at this point if they're going to become a forever person, but you're having a great time together in the short term.
Yep, exactly. And I think that is it's just interesting. Life in the stages and the friendships in the stages as well.
And the other piece I think you and I have talked about a lot is friendship as part of the bigger fabric of your relationships in life.
Yeah.
You know, and I think part of your journey as you get to closer to 50
thank you,
is acknowledging that you love and thrive and want really deep relationships from your friends. And I think like over the last 12 years, I've seen you shift probably your desire and need for those relationships.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I think it is in those early stages, it was all about work, work. And you realize that it's not as satisfying as what you think it is. So
maybe not the be all and end all.
Or not you know what? Not the be all and end all. There are other things that can give you that rush and that joy, but also make sure that you're laughing and smiling at the same time.
I mean, it does remind me the day when the sale of the business went through. And back to the comment up front about the not having a handbag. Like literally didn't have a handbag, had like the old school plastic Woolies bag filled with snacks, and you just sold your business for an incredibly successful moment in life. And we were so proud and like we rejoiced and celebrated in all the right things as we sat in a park with some kids' snacks out of a plastic bag. And I think like despite the comedy visual of that, it's also like actually what mattered was you being with someone who you could feel your complete and authentic self. And yes, you were so proud of that moment, but it also actually wasn't the be all and end all.
No, it was, but you know what? And I still don't have an expensive handbag because I'm like, why do I actually need it? Anyway, or Justin tries to buy them for me.
Justin does try and buy them.
Oh, I'm not going to use a bag. I don't need it. I've got a phone. Yeah, okay, good. What do you think really matters in a friend?
Oh, it's a good question. I think loyalty, compassion, kindness, fun. Like you really want to have a laugh. And honesty. Like I think sometimes you need your mates to like tell you to pull your head in. And like sometimes your mates can probably tell you to do that. Like I was texting with a mate last night and she was like, you know, am I taking this to heart? And I was like, no, if I thought you were being like an idiot about this, I would tell you to pull your head in. And you're not. And I think sometimes your friends can do that with you without it turning into an argument with your partner. But I do think you need that honesty each way.
What, like, hang on, we've got too much drama going on now.
I love drama. Maybe drama.
I think that too. And I do think that by just knowing that everyone does, like having a little less judgment about people as well and trying to see it from their perspective and what's going on in their world because you don't know what's going on, even on the surface. Like, you can be all put together, all properly put together, all seen to be.
And dying on the inside.
Dying on the inside. And I think sometimes that does cause different reactions in friendships, and you just need to be there, and that loyalty and that, inquisitive curiosity, making sure that they're okay is a big thing.
And I think know when they want to pour their souls out.
Yeah.
And when they actually just want you to help them hold it together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
And to
fair.
pick those moments.
Yes. What do you wish you'd known about friendship 10 years ago?
Be less sensitive. Yeah. I mean, jokes aside, I think having the confidence that your people are your people.
Yeah.
And
do you think
trusting in
do you
that.
think that comes, though, with confidence in yourself?
I think it's probably confidence in yourself and probably a little bit of maturity.
Yeah.
I think that, and maybe it comes back, especially for me around the only child thing, is it's probably a combo of like wanting and needing to be loved and also FOMO.
Yeah, I was going to bring in the FOMO. Like the ability to say no to some things.
And know that that's okay.
And know it's okay is actually a big thing. Like the joy of missing out. Like, I love that. Always.
I mean, sometimes. I mean, would we say always?
Maybe not always. Maybe not always. But it is, it is different.
I think it is probably confidence. I think it's confidence in yourself, but also confidence in the people that like know you inside out.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember what the moment was recently with a mate, but like I remember her laughing to me on the phone being like, this is just so you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just sometimes I think not in a too serious sense, but sometimes you can be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And actually you just have to trust the fact that you've got some great mates.
Yeah.
And just embrace that.
Yeah. And do you have different friends for different moods? Work, fun, deep chats?
I mean, probably not for different moods, but maybe for different chapters or different moments. So I think, I'm very social at work, for example, and I've got a couple of really great mates at work. And I'd say when I look back career-wise, there's probably always a couple of really great mates that stay with you. And that's awesome. And you very much the same in that regard. I think you have a really tight core. And I think you probably can't kid yourself that anyone's got enough bandwidth or capacity to truly have, I have this joke with one mate about like one hand, and that you can't have a core that's bigger than people that you could fit on one hand. And I genuinely believe that. And that's not to say that your core is with you every day in the minutia, but I think when the going gets really great or really tough, they're the people who are by your side.
Yeah.
But then I think there are other people that do come and go with life. I mean, I remember your husband saying to me once something about, and we were talking about some other people that we were both friends with at the time, about, will they be a character in the book or will they just be a character for a chapter? And I do think that there are some friends that are a chapter or maybe a few chapters, but I think your core
they're there
are what you take through forever. And I think really it's like empathy, fun, and probably honesty that keeps that working.
What happens if you don't have the core? Like, what do you do?
I mean, I think some people need less friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a family or only child piece or an introvert, extrovert piece or a capacity piece. But I think some people I don't think need as many friends as me. Like I know I love being surrounded by people and I thrive off the energy of people. Not everyone is like that.
No.
I think equally maybe it's a confidence piece, maybe it's a fun piece, maybe it's a personality piece.
Yeah.
Maybe for some people they only need one or two mates and that's okay. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
Like I think it's so personal.
Yeah, it is. And
I do think there's probably a difference in how men and women approach friendships too.
Agree.
And you and I have spoken about this a bit, and it's like there are probably I think also there are some couples who are very tight,
Yep.
right? And we can both name
Yeah.
people like this. And that's, again, not always a good thing, and it's not always a bad thing.
No, it's just what.
But maybe if you've got that, you need less other people.
Yeah.
Or if you have a really big, tight family and you're an introvert, maybe you need less people. But I think it is such a core part of who I am. I know, like, people at work pull me up all the time because I'll be like, oh, my bestie. And they'll be like, sorry, which bestie is this? And like, that's my core, right? No, it's my core, but it's still, but for some people, maybe they only need one or two in that core.
Yep.
And that's okay. But I think it's really personal,
Yeah.
which is probably a bit vague. But
How do you think you find friends as you get older?
I mean, I think with you and I, we just clicked straight away.
Yeah.
I think, like, you know, with my really good high school mates, you've got such a long
Yeah,
history and you've known that journey, and you've had moments where you've been so tight and then moments when you've been less tight. I think sometimes you know it instantly. I think sometimes people surprise you, and maybe sometimes people disappoint you. And I think particularly in instances where you either call it and you cut them, or you maybe put someone on the back burn, maybe you're at a point where they've really disappointed you,
Yeah.
or you're at a point where you just have less in common. And I think, like, not to say that you need all of your friends to be like you and at the same stage with you and the same number of kids and the same gender of kids and all of that, but you need to have some commonality.
Yeah, there definitely does need to be.
Plus, there's practicalities.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we live all the way in Watson's Bay. You know, it's harder.
Whatever. Why is it so hard to make friends as an adult?
I mean, is it hard to make friends as an adult?
Is it? You know what? I think it is. And this is where, like, the male versus female thing. I think because females are out and about more, particularly if they're a mum, they have the school network, they're more involved in the school, there is that opportunity. But I do think it is harder for men to actually make friends as they get later in life.
And I think they're probably more closed and less vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, I think if we go back to, like, you need to be okay to say everything was not okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
And I don't know, I think some men are good at that. Probably they're trying to get slightly better at it as a really broad, wide-speaking statement. But there's a lot of bravado out there.
Yeah.
And I think that that can be limiting because you can end up in a really fickle, one-dimensional conversation. And I don't think that that is being a true friend.
No, I know. And I do, I think it is. Hopefully it is changing. I mean, there's so much about men's mental health and, you know, being able to share. But it is hard, I think, for men to actually find those friendships later in life. Unless it's come through work, it's tough.
Work or maybe kids' schools or, like, you know, for a lot, I think, you know, around sport, as cliched as that sounds. But I think it's also hard because you have less time.
Yeah.
And you and I always joke, and in fact, my husband and I always joke that if he goes, I just don't have time, I go, yeah, it's funny because Dom just has more time. Yeah. And then he goes, oh, I better pull my head in. But, you know, it's hard. I mean, poor Sean, he just has less time than everyone else. No, I love you, honey. But you know, I mean, I do think it's hard because your demands increase. Like, my mum and I have spoken about this a lot. I think we are in that crunch window where you've still got a career that's really demanding in whatever way, shape or form that takes. You've got kids and the ever-increasing emotional needs of those kids. Yeah, okay, great, they can have a shower and feed themselves.
Or get a bus.
Or get a bus, amazing. But, like, you know, the emotional support that comes with that.
Yeah.
You've got a partner and.
Yeah.
So I think it comes back to, like, sometimes being pragmatic, but then at the same time, how much do you need that for your soul? And I think I need that for my soul.
It is the trade-off of what investment in friendship can I get to make sure that my soul or my heart or my cup is actually full.
And knowing that sometimes that might come at the cost of something else.
Yeah. Like doing the dishes.
Like culling cupboards.
Yeah. Whatever.
Dom.
What would you say to someone who's feeling a bit lonely?
Oh, that makes me feel sad.
I know.
I think ask for help.
But do you reckon if they're feeling lonely, they would?
I would think, well, okay, maybe two things. If you've got even one person, ask for help. Like start small and be honest and open. If you feel like you don't even have one or two people, like get involved.
Yeah,
Whatever interest or community or kids thing or work thing, just have a crack at maybe putting yourself outside your comfort zone and seeing if you can build something small.
It's funny. So in the Let Them Theory book, it does say, one of the things is that social connection is such a massive thing for all people, whether it's male, female, young or old.
We're social beings.
Absolutely. And there's been so much research that's shown if your social network and community is actually strong as you get older, you do live for longer because you are more complete and you are more fulfilled inside. But Mel Robbins says you've got to put yourself out there. If you've got an interest, go join a group, go do something or go be where the people are. And also say your name first. Ask someone's name so that even if you are in a coffee shop, you go in and say to whoever's serving you, oh, hi, I come here often. What's your name? So that at least you've got someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Start
look
small.
at my mum with the gallery, right?
Yeah.
It's like finding something in retirement that you love, that you meet like-minded people, that you connect. Yeah, sure, initially around art and your absolute love and fascination of that. But then she's made some extraordinary friends out of that. But it's finding maybe that community and then building and investing in those friendships. And I do think friendship takes investments.
Yep. And it is, you're right, you have to put yourself out there. If you are feeling lonely, you've got to take that first step it will be uncomfortable initially. Like it's going to be uncomfortable, but.
And for some personalities, more uncomfortable than others.
Absolutely. But you know what? Even if it is taking that first step or just knowing that you can go and say hello to someone at the coffee shop, at least there's that interaction.
And I think for parents, there's so much natural interaction that happens through those communities that it's like, we've spoken about this a lot. I've spoken about this a lot, especially since Spencer started his new school, is like a lot of the time what you put in is what you get out.
Absolutely.
So yes, you're going to meet some people who are lovely, but aren't necessarily your people.
Yeah.
But then you're going to meet some people who are super your people.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you nurture that and you invest in that, like any great relationship, you're going to get some really great rewarding memories that come out of that. And I think it's like, that's part of, I think, what has kept our friendship so strong for so many years is it's that investment, but it's also the memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the memories, not just for us, but for our family, for our kids. And, it's awesome.
And I think it's funny. I was reading this thing and it became so apparent to me that as we get older, even some of the friendships that we do have, we just go and do the routine stuff, catch up for a coffee, go for a walk, but we don't do things that are actually joyous or experiences. And it made me realize and go, it's so true. We need to start doing stuff that is fun with our friends, not just sitting there and talking. It is like memories that you are making because you don't remember the coffees or the walks.
Some you do.
Some you do, obviously some you do. But it's more about those experiences.
Yep.
And we just start to, because life gets in the way, the time pressures are there, you start to stop doing those experiences unless you live so far away and you make a day of it.
And I think experiences that are with your kids and experiences that aren't always with your kids.
I agree.
Because you're like, whether or not it's when they're younger and you're distracted by the like practicalities of their lack of independence, or whether or not it's like everything that you say in front of them then gets repeated to everyone for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Like it's like sometimes the little ears are helpful and sometimes they can't be there. Right. And I think even like you and I probably a lot of the time end up speaking in the car. Because we've both got no little ears around us. And it's like, okay, we can actually get really deep really quickly.
Yeah.
Just practically because the circumstance allows us to.
That's it. And it's more just a bleh. And then you're
Especially
like
with
a blah, blah, blah. No. Have you ever had a proper friend breakup?
I mean, I don't know about a breakup. I definitely remember with one friend who can remain nameless. I think it was after I had Bo, so my second son, and we were at the park and she'd made an effort to come and see me, but I was like in the hot zone of like 2 little kids. And I had felt increasingly all of our interactions every time was like drain. And I remember at the end of this, actually probably the last time we saw each other, just going like, I'm really comfortable knowing that I've been drained one too many times. And so like I probably did do more the ghosting than I did do the cut, but that's probably as close to a friendship breakup as I've probably been to.
Yeah.
But I think it was that awareness that had maybe run its course.
Yeah.
And I think that that's okay. And who knows, in 10 years' time, maybe for whatever reason that person might pop up in my life and that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some people can let you down and that can be a micro letdown or it can be like compounded.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you just need to accept that, as harsh as that sounds.
Yep.
And rebuild.
Yep, you do. Seeing you work at Meta, are we heading to...
This question was not on the list.
Yeah, 100% it was. Are we heading for full digital friendships or craving more in real life?
I mean, I think digital will never replace the human.
Yeah, I agree.
That is definitely not my official work view. No. I mean, I think in all aspects of life, whether or not it's work, whether or not it's creativity of thought, whether or not it's connection. I mean, the whole meta purpose is about connection. It's just about what form that connection takes, right? Now, do I necessarily completely agree with all aspects of that? I mean, obviously enough for me to work in a business, right? But at the same time, I mean, I think it is the human connection that is ultimately so part of what we need as beings.
Yeah.
You know, like to the quote before from Mel Robbins, it's like we are social beings. And sure, some people need maybe 1 unit of social, maybe I need 100, right? And that's okay too. But it's like that can take different forms. And I think like even if I think about, you said before, like just sending someone a message and just knowing that you might not even get a reply, but it means that they know that you're thinking of them.
Yeah.
So I think the format of your friendship can change. And I do think text helped us with that.
Yep.
I absolutely love messaging because I think it means that people can get it and respond in how it works for them. But at the same time, can your friendship purely exist on messaging? No, probably not, because it's pretty one-dimensional. And it's also not a conversation.
No, it's not.
It's a broadcast or an update, right?
And also in a message, there's normally 75 things that you have to respond to. And it's not like, oh, which one do I respond to?
I mean, I'm definitely known for sending the world's longest messages, let's be honest. But I think it is all about human connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's about making those moments, whether or not it's every day or every month or once a year, how do you really make sure that you're super present in those moments? And I think both you and I have probably been through periods, as all hectic, tech-obsessed people are, where you're maybe not as present as you want to be.
Yeah.
And that, like, particularly, that was probably one of my own goals this year, is be present in whatever you're in right now.
Yeah.
And if that's a small chat with your kid or a conversation like this or, you know, a cup of tea with my mum or whoever, it's like, let that be the moment. Try not to multitask every moment, every time.
What's
Dom?
Put your phone down.
Put your phone down sometimes.
Yeah, I think it is. Digital has definitely helped extend the relationships and how you can have them. And it gets annoying. Not annoying, but it means that, like, if I don't talk to my nan on the phone at certain times during the day, I can't actually check in with her. So, you know, like it becomes difficult to have that full relationship with her if I'm just not on the phone or if I've had stuff on. And, if I could just text her, it'd be amazing because I could just go, hi, how are you? What are you doing?
And I think also, like, particularly with mates who live in different cities
Yeah,
or in different places around the world, it's
yeah,
like practically it's amazing.
yeah,
But I think nothing beats like
yeah, being
a
in
great
person.
hug and being in person and having a laugh or a cry or, I mean, I think it's also being there in the big and the little moments that matter. And I
Yeah.
think particularly it's like, that does take mental energy and capacity, but
Mm.
trying to remember what's important to the people who are most important to you.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, I forgot Leighton's birthday this year. I think it was the first time I've done it in 12 years. I felt so bad, like
Fine.
so bad. But at the same time, you're like, most of the time, you're pretty great,
Yeah.
right?
So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, and because I don't
Poor
post it on Insta,
That was really helpful.
yeah, well, like, I don't need to share my life.
You do.
Yeah, no, I don't. Can you still see us doing water parks and yum cha when we're in our 60s?
No, God, I hope not. No, I mean, maybe the yum cha bit, but a more civilized, slow version of yum cha. No, but I think that's where the evolution of
Yeah.
friendship comes in. I think I was talking to a mate this week about like, look, let's go and do a walk. Or like, what is it?
Yeah.
How do you take, to your point, the experiences and carving out time where you get really those quality moments? So I think the how you connect changes.
Yeah.
And maybe partly that's digital and partly that's the memories and the experience, almost like the two polar ends of the spectrum. But like the format and the content might change, but the people who matter remain pretty constant.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's like, how do you stay connected as life changes, as we become like parents of teenagers, empty nesters, like, there's all of those things that do actually evolve. And
And how do you stay interested and involved in your best mates' kids' lives?
yeah.
Because I think that's really important too.
Well, I mean, there so much research has been done based on making sure that, after what is it, 12 or 13, it's the other adults that are around the kids
And
that
the
have
positive role models.
absolutely that have more influence than you do over your kids, which is, it's so important to make sure that you are actively involved in their lives as well.
I mean, I like to think I'm a super auntie for one of my mates, particularly my mates' girls. And I'm like, I hope that maybe there'll be moments when she's like the really most feral version of teenage her, that like she knows that there's like another safe adult that she can come and go like, hey, I've maybe made a bit of a fuck up and I need some help.
Yeah. And I don't want to tell mum.
And I don't want to tell mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do tell me. Anyway, no.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's see. But I think it's like the chapters of life, but the relationships that go through that with you.
Yeah.
And some of those relationships will change.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are the forever friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think there's anything about friendship that we haven't touched on?
I mean, I think the context piece
Yep.
from you before, like you touched on it, but I think it's that thing of like everyone has their own shit.
Oh, yeah.
And some people, like, I mean, I am like the classic open book and you know what mood I'm in from like the first sentence.
Yeah, I have to normally get like my word in first before you.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. I know you said before you talk. Yeah.
But like other people take more time or more like, so I think it's appreciating that everyone has got their shit going on and that sometimes you're going to go through periods, particularly if, let's say you're going through a tough time, right? You're going to give and give more and that's okay. And you have to recognize that that's a point in time, but there's a context to that. And I think sometimes you can maybe take something personal in a friendship in isolation as opposed to seeing the bigger picture, which I think is probably true of all relationships, right?
Absolutely.
You
get focused on the one thing rather than on the bigger picture of how that person actually is with you.
And how you can help them and why you should help them. And I think it's just, it's ultimately about love and care.
Yeah.
I think it's deeply caring about how your mates feel and being prepared to like sometimes accept that that might be at an inconvenient time for what you've got going on in your life. But actually, if someone's going through something really shit,
They need you.
they need you.
Mm.
And as much as you would want them to be there for you, you're going to be there for them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's interesting, the conditions. Like that literally is about making sure it is unconditional rather than actually the conditions, even though you may be going through something in your life. Sometimes your friends just need you at that point in time.
Oh, and like if I think back, like, you know, I'm going to call it like crisis moments where you're like meeting a mate at like 7 a.m. in the freezing middle of winter with 4 small kids under the age of 4, and you're just there for someone in all the ugliness
Yeah, yeah.
that it takes. But I think that's what builds the empathy
Yeah,
and the depth.
I agree. It is in that ugliness or in that pain where friendships are actually made.
And it is pain. Like life can be really painful and hard. I mean, you and I are both in the privileged position that right now we've not had to go through, for example, the pain of like losing a parent or the grief. Whereas obviously we've both got mates who have gone through that. And I think, you know, life is mostly hard. And so I think it's about having the vulnerability to share that with your people.
Yeah.
And B, knowing when to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think like to the piece on, I think you have needed more friendship units, for want of a better expression, probably over the last, I'd say even 5 years than the 5 years that preceded that.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's okay to ask for help. And it's also okay, back to the mental health piece, it's okay sometimes to say, I'm not okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Or I do need help.
I need help and I don't know what that help looks like, but can you help me through the help?
Yeah.
And I think like to your question of are there different friends for different things or for different moments, everyone will have their own version of how they'll help you with that.
Yes.
Like I still remember, and I can't think how old the kids were, but I think one of the kids had some feral gastro bug and we were in our like old house. So there's a point in time reference, but I have no idea how old they were. If there was 1 kid, 2 kid, I have no idea. And I remember being like, oh my God. And you were in Watson's Bay and you drove over and you left like some icy poles and an orchid, which is very classic Dom, but some icy poles and like maybe like some food or something as like a care package that you literally dropped on the doorstep. And it's stuff like that where it's like sometimes it's really practical help.
Yeah.
And other times it's like, I need
I'm
to
here.
absolutely break down and for you to just let me go through that and everything else in between. But it is those ugly moments that I do think it probably builds the trust.
Yeah.
And I think with the trust is the like deep love and respect.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, and it's, you know, they always say what in the workplace it's in the trenches that the culture is built.
Yeah.
But it is also so true that friendships are built in the trenches as well.
Yeah.
And deep friendships are built in the trenches.
And sometimes like, I mean, I was laughing with a mate last weekend about a moment and it was probably, let's call it a friendship fight, right?
Yeah.
And it was donkeys years ago. And like it was a pretty ugly fight. And like I think we'd probably both had too much to drink and we probably both said things that we shouldn't have. But we both look back and go, it's probably what defined our friendship.
Yeah.
It's probably like that moment where it was so ugly that we both realized, oh no, you are my person.
Yeah. Yeah. You get me.
You get me.
You get
and
me.
you get me and you get the all of me, the good version of me and the bloody awful version of me.
Okay, Maddie, we've covered it all. The tea, the dumplings, the umsha, the skitties, the big friendship lessons, and the undeniable power of big burp for our kids as well. But as I edge closer to 50, still in a couple of years, I have to ask, what's one thing I should do for our friendship before I hit the big milestone? Something fun, something ridiculous, something that we'll remember forever.
Oh, I mean, I want to answer this question in so many ways.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I think like I think
And
there's
it's not
something
a buy a
fun.
handbag because I don't want one.
No, it's definitely not that. I know you better than that. I think what I want you to do is to have the confidence to carve out the time and protect the time for your mates, for you,
Yeah.
and know that that's okay.
Mm,
You've got so many people with so many demands on your time,
mm.
and everyone who is in awe of your awesomeness and energy, as they should be, that's right. But at the same time, it's okay for you to be like, this is what I want
Yeah.
and what I need, and I'm going to protect that.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a big friendship memory
Yeah.
as you embark on your 50th.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, what is that for you? Not what is that for your relationship or for your family? What is that thing that you want in your soul that you'll look back and you go, do you know what? My core and me had this awesome experience
Yeah.
that I'll never replicate before I turn 50. You know, it's
Okay.
backing yourself to have that,
Yeah. Yeah. That
just
moment.
the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So there's two in there, really, isn't it?
There's two in there.
Yeah.
And one's a sort of like bigger behavioral thing. And then one is like,
Yeah.
let's just go and do something
Yeah.
really fun. Like how we joke about going to Antarctica. But I know
We're
I
not
sort of think
joking.
maybe.
It's not joke.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if anyone out there is listening and realizes their friendships could use a little more attention.
Yep. Attention or intention?
Attention.
Yep.
Just my husky voice. What's your one piece of advice on how to be a better friend?
Invest in the people that you love the most.
Mm.
And it could be big, it could be little. It can't be all the time, but just show that you love them and show that you care. And that might be like some comedy panda gif that someone sent me this week that really made me laugh, or it might be something really deep and meaningful, but it's like invest in your mates and know that they are the people that you are sharing life's incredible journey with.
Mm.
And that really it's the people that matters.
Yep.
And whether or not that's at work, with your family, with your friends, you know, that's what at the end of life, when someone stands up and reflects on your life, it's the people and the impact that you've had on those people that's what matters most.
Yeah, I definitely think the impact you've had on people, like I always try to make sure that I leave a situation or a person better than what it started as.
And sometimes that's possible. And sometimes you've got to call the hard truth, right?
Agree.
But at the same time, I think it's about, it's the fabric that makes your life, you know, and there's so much minutia and like admin and all that like stuff that is essential. But when you look back, it's the moments with the people and those little micro moments and those really big moments.
Yeah.
That's what makes life
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. Gives you the memories.
Yeah.
Experiences. All about the joy and experiences.
It's the joy and it's about the how do you make someone feel.
Yeah.
And I think to your point about you always make someone feel loved and present. And you leave your amazing, extraordinary energy and the mark on that on someone's day, right? But at the same time, it might be that and that's awesome, right? But it's like, how do you want someone to feel? And I think that's what's the one thing? Make someone feel a little bit better today.
Yeah.
And just show that you care. It's actually free to show that you care.
Kindness is free.
Kindness is free.
And
I
have
think
a choice to be either happy or sad and push that out on people.
Yep. And the more you put in, I think the more rewarding it is.
Yep. Agree.
And if you put it in and you don't get it back, then you're going to learn that pretty quickly.
After a few times.
Maybe quickly, depending on how quick a learner you are.
Maddie, you are the absolute best. Friendship in midlife can be complicated. It takes effort. It takes showing up even when life is busy. And it takes finding the right people who get you, who love you and who are there for you. If there's one thing I'm taking from this chat, it's that friendships don't have to be constant to be solid. They can come in and out, and you can invest the time or the effort that you do have at that point in time. You just need to make sure that when you do show up, you bring the love, the laughter, and maybe even a giant IKEA shark. And if you've been listening and thinking about the friends who mean the most to you, here's your challenge. Send them a message, plan that catch up, and be the one friend that shows up. Plan something that's different to what you would normally do. If you love this episode, subscribe, share it with your best friends or whoever you need to, and come chat with me on socials because let's be honest, we all need some more hilarious, ridiculous, slightly unhinged friendships, sharing our stories in life. And before you go, take on Maddie's challenge yourself. Even carve out some time for you. Or even think about one big friendship moment that you can plan before you're 50. Do something fun, bold, and keep your friendships alive because fuck, we're nearly 50 and isn't it amazing?